Okay, so this is my third time trying to record this because my mic quality is terrible and I do not like to write scripts. So I'm literally just saying things off the top of my head. Now, before I get into this video, which you can obviously tell what it's about from the thumbnail, probably the title, and the description. So, before I get into the video, I would like to say that if you actually care about the art, what I'm drawing, I'm redrawing troll OCs and stuff. The twins, aka the first one, were actually given to me to redraw, and then the second one, the single character, was one of my old OCs for that. Now, without further ado, let us get into the video. Now, I was sitting on Instagram one day, kind of just chilling, and my friend told me, oh, look at this account, and it was a Priss the Fox account. I was like, oh, that's funny. That it was really random. I believe this was 3 days ago, and I was like, oh, that's really random. I haven't seen anything involving Sj other than that video I made a while ago. So it was really strange for me, and I was like, oh, that's funny. Let me check it out. The account was private. However, what I did notice was that the description seemed very similar to something that Sj, would say, would type, would do. And obviously I was very skeptical because Sj had been gone for months. It doesn't make much sense. They would just randomly reappear. It just doesn't make sense at all. So I was very skeptical, didn't really believe it. I mean, they had very similar tracing, but it just didn't seem genuine. And so I kind of ignored it until today. My friend had told me that there was a Lolite account, and I was like, a Lolite, really? And so I decided to check the account out for myself. So for one, they had a fan art drawing of Priss. They had they had tons of new art that hadn't been seen before in a very similar art style. I know that with tracing, it's very easy to replicate someone else's art style, but the thing is that it's very bad, messy tracing that's used. Very bad, messy tracing that's used. So it only makes sense for me to feel oh, that reminds me of that, because obviously it's pretty common to trace badly or in an interesting manner, but it just felt very off, and it just the way that it looked was very, very similar to Sj's. Because even with tracing, everyone traces differently because it's still the movement of your wrist and your own skill. So with that, I was getting less suspicious, maybe this actually is genuinely Sj, but still very skeptical because you still have no idea until I started looking around the account. It had a lot of art that only Sj would have had access to, as I said, the new art, and how they did things was how Sj did things, how they typed, their speech patterns, their mannerisms, their pattern of lying, being oh yeah, all these OCs that were used by the exact same person. Nah, those are different people. However, I did buy OCs, every single one that people said was the same person, from not from a single different person. Not anyone. I didn't get an OC from anyone who was outside of this circle. But yeah, every OC from this circle is now mine now because I adopted them, and I am not suspicious in any way whatsoever. And so they did that, the obvious genius that they are. And it just very much felt like something that Sj would say, especially how they typed it, the grammar, just, again, their overall speech patterns. And so that very much made me feel like it was Sj. What I did find interesting though is that last time they didn't do many face reveals. They did do a face reveal that was actually their face on one account, but I know for certain that on another account, on another account, I believe that they did use a Google sourced image of this blonde girl. But I don't remember, I don't think they've done anything like that in a while, so I was really oh, that's interesting. because that was something that they only did with like 2 or 3 of their accounts. They didn't do any like, you know, troll face reveals very often. That wasn't very much their style. So seeing them do that was very interesting to me. So yeah, I like how they probably just like looked up pretty girl and posted it, and what I find funny is that someone like commented saying cutie. Okay, and finally, this is what had sold me, because like after seeing the face reveal thing, it was still a little off-putting, but how they did it very much seemed like in a fashion that Sj would, like posting a story like, people keep calling me a pedophile, I'm gonna do a face reveal so they stop, ooh. That very much sounds like something that Sj would have done, and so obviously Sj did the fake face reveal. Finally, the different accounts. Now, when there are a lot of accounts linked together, it is incredibly suspicious, but for all of the accounts to have the same art style, typing and speech patterns, and when one of them block you, they like all block you almost at like a few seconds later. It's just incredibly suspicious. It doesn't make like any sense. I even like tested this out by like going on an alt account, leaving a negative comment, and it was just like, yeah. And so that was very suspicious, and then, like, you know, just the way that the accounts are set up, they're all supposed to be like friends or dating, and they all seem to be more like OCs than like real people. They obviously weren't trying very hard to be like believable. Sometimes it almost feels like they're like making up their own little world with like their own little people, with their own relationships and like different motives and like backstories. And I feel like if you are good at making dark OCs, there are a lot of like villains that you could create with that. There are a lot of things that you could do. However, like leaking your own nudes online, insulting people, sending Grabify links, you know, it's not really the way to do that. If you haven't watched the last video, which it would have been very strange to watch this whole thing if you didn't, you should have watched that before. I don't know why you didn't, but well, if you did anyway, but like if you don't remember, they literally sent me a Grabify link saying that they would come to me IRL, and you know, when I said no, they blocked me immediately. So I feel like that's not a good sign, especially since there are a lot of people that like will DM wolf accounts with victim mentality, who will try and become victim, who will flirt with these people, who will talk to them very often, and will be like very outgoing and flirtatious, and will even share personal information or private images just so, you know, they could be victim. And I no shaming people who do this, because I know that this can happen with trauma and mental health issues, and you know, victim mentality is a real and dangerous thing, and it is very hard to deal with. So I am in no way like shaming these people. So if you've ever done this, no, I'm not shaming you. Like, I understand, but like, it's just really dangerous, because not only are people putting themselves in people with like victim mentality, they are putting themselves in danger, they're putting people around them in danger, they're like, you know, they're helping the predator, and that's really, it's a really sad thing that goes on, and it's really sad because predators do take people with victim mentality, and they do take advantage of them, and then it's just a whole mess. So obviously, if there's someone who had victim mentality or anything similar that was willing to click that Grabify link, who knows what could have happened, who knows what has happened. It's just really, really dumb. Oh, and finally, I would like to say, if Sj, if you're watching this on any of your accounts, or like, you know, for any number of reasons, just if you're watching this right now, I want to let you know that you don't have to be like a troll on the internet, nor does, like, some people have the mindset of, well, I started it, so like I have to finish it, or I have to keep doing it. Like, you can, you don't have to do it. You can apologize, you can get over it, you can get past it. Doing bad things doesn't mean that you should like continue to do them. It's not healthy, especially when you're harming a lot of people in the way, like, or just like near that situation. You're genuinely harming people. You have leaked private images of others. You have sent dangerous links. It's an incredible bad thing to do, and things will catch up to you.